Hi, everybody. My name is Alexandra Diaz, and on behalf of Control Central, I would like to welcome everybody to our webinar today. Today's webinar is co-presented by Testo, and today John Figan will be introducing a great new product regarding AC and heating. John is the Southeast Regional Sales Manager for Testo. He's been in the industry for a very long time, and he's been with Testo for 20 years. He's a certified NATE instructor and conducts technical NATE training classes for Testo, primarily 2 certified classes. He's also a graduate of Penn State University, and we're very happy to have him today. Before we get started, I'd like to remind everybody that this session will be recorded, so you can access it after, but we certainly encourage you to stay until the end. Questions will be taken throughout the presentation. You can insert your question in the chat and we'll take them there. And then they will be answered at the end of the presentation. So make sure to stay till the end. Another good reason to stay till the end of the webinar is because there will be a new special presented. So we want to make sure that you guys take advantage of that. And don't forget, we have 5 handouts for you that are available. If you look at your window on the right and scroll down, there's a handout section, and you can access those really cool assets. So without further ado, I'd like to now pass over the mic to John. John, welcome aboard. Thank you for having our Control Central customers with you today.
Oh, thank you, Alex, and thanks for getting a good bunch of people together on this seminar. My name again is John Figan, and thanks, Alex, for the nice introduction. What I'm going to cover today is really 2 things. We're going to be covering digital gauges, the new digital gauges that were introduced by Testo earlier this year, and also we're going to talk a lot about the combustion analyzers. Certainly, we're getting into the season, starting to get into the season in some parts of the country. I'm basically in North Carolina, so we're still in pretty hot temperatures here. But we'll cover two main product lines, and then we'll talk about our fall promotion, and then we'll open it up to questions. This will be about a 35-minute presentation with questions and answers at the end of the presentation. We thought that would be the best way to handle this. Hopefully everybody on here knows Testo, and there's a lot of things that we, as a global manufacturer, we have a lot of assets. You can see a lot of years in business and a large manufacturer of instrumentation in general. Most important thing about this, though, I think, is if you go down to the last bullet there, we are ISO 17025 quality standards. That means that in our headquarters in New Jersey, we have international standards for calibration, and our products have to meet certain accuracy specifications and tolerances before they're shipped to you, the customer. There are strict quality standards. Most manufacturers, other instrument manufacturers, may not have this type of standard, but ISO 17025 is an international standard that Testo follows. As you know, we manufacture a lot of different instruments, and today, again, we're talking primarily about combustion analyzers, but I first want to start off a little bit with some new digital manifolds that we introduced earlier this year, because they have been a big hit this year. And for the customers on the line that are doing not only heating, but also air conditioning and refrigeration, you're talking a lot today about superheat and subcooling. And one of the questions that you may ask yourself is that, hey, you know, things are changing. Equipment is getting more sophisticated, and so are really our instruments. And there's been a lot of talk about digital gauges over the years. Digital gauges been out on the market now for over 15 years. I think Testo was one of the first ones out with a digital gauge. But again, you see the questions here on the slide where, you know, talking a little bit about the digital gauges, the questions you may have as far as reliability, accuracy, affordability, ease of use. Probably have a lot of questions on that if you're not already using something. Well, digital gauges, like I said, have been around for a while, and over the 15 years that Testo's been involved in manufacturing these, we came up with a new generation earlier this year. One of the main things that you're looking at digital gauges is really it's all about accuracy, trying to reduce your callbacks, higher accuracy in the pressure side of the pressure measurements as well as the temperature measurements. There's excellent repeatability. We're communicating from wireless probes to the instrument, from the instrument to an app. Once you get into the app, you can validate and you can record keep and you can store readings. And quite honestly, these instruments are very affordable. If you look at this here, we introduced the 550S and the 557S in February of this year. And you can see it's a handheld tool. It's really about the 4th generation that Testo introduced. And we really hit the mark on this product because we are doing very well, certainly in sales, but also the positive comments coming back from customers. These are handheld instruments that measure the pressures, measure temperatures, calculate your superheat and subcooling, and everything is completely wireless, including the vacuum sensor. Here's a close-up of the face of the instrument. Again, it's handheld. We have a 2-valve, which is a 550S. We have a 4-valve, which is a 557S. The difference is in the valve structure, if you want 4-valve or 2-valve. And again, it's giving you a large graphic display of your readings, pressure readings, temperature readings. It's about a 5-inch display where you're looking at not only you're looking at numbers, but you're looking at a graphic representation of the analog gauges. Everything is digital, but some of our customers still like to see that movement of on an analog gauge. So as you can see here, completely wireless, quick and easy to use, nice handheld package, very durable. Everything is wireless on this instrument. So your 2 pipe clamp probes that you see there communicate to the instruments below. There's a 550S 2-valve and there's a 557 4-valve. From the instrument, the data is going into your smart device, whether it's an Android device or an iOS device, a cell phone, or a tablet. If you look at the top there's a vacuum sensor. The vacuum sensor is also wireless. And when I talk about wireless sensors, I mean we have the capability through Bluetooth to be around 300 feet away from the instrument, and then the instrument can be around 300 feet away from the smart device that you're using. At the app, we have an app it's very compatible with all our different types of probes that we have. You're going to hear a lot over the next year and this year on wireless probes. We have a full line of these wireless probes. We have one app that communicates both to our digital gauges as well as our wireless probes. Once you get it into the app, then you're able to store the readings. You're able to do some calculations, more calculations in the app. You're able to email the results anywhere you want to through the website. Very compatible, very easy to use. The setup on this instrument is pretty simple as well. You turn the instrument on. Let's say you're a first-time user of digital gauges. You turn the instrument on, it goes through a little bit of a power up. And the first thing you're going to do to set the instrument up, it goes through a wizard. And the wizard actually tells you to select a language. And there's about 20 different languages in here. As you know, Testo's an international company. We're headquartered in Germany. Our headquarters here in the United States is in New Jersey. But you select the English US, and the parameters and the units of measurement are set up automatically for you. The second thing you do is you're going to get a QR code. That QR code allows you to download the app, the Testo Smart app, at no charge. Our app is free, and it provides the the necessary tools to store readings, to data log readings, to graph readings, and to send all that information through the web on the internet. Navigation of the instrument, you'll see the display itself. There's a measurement mode. If I select that measurement mode, I go into a lot of different modes of tests that I can do. I can do superheat subcooling calculations, evacuation, vacuum test, a pressure leak test, targeted superheat test, compressor test, as well as delta T's. If you look at these displays on the bottom, if you look at that center bottom, when I turn on the pipe clamp probes, you're going to start getting your readings from your smart clamp probes. And obviously one smart clamp probe is going to be on the suction line, the other is going to be on the liquid line, and we're going to start, we got the pressures, we got our hoses hooked up to the instrument, blue on the blue side, red on the high side, and we're going to start getting our pressure measurements and our temperature measurements and all our calculations. There's over 80 plus refrigerants that you can select from. You can select refrigerants and have favorites. You can have up to 5 favorites. So you're not going to use all 90 refrigerants, of course, but you may have 5 that you're going to be using quite often, like 410A, R22, 134, 407, and you're ready to go. It's that simple. Go into the measurement mode as I indicated. You select the different measurements. If you want to do an evacuation test, you go and you select evacuation. You turn on the probe, the vacuum probe. You set the vacuum probe closer to the system through the tee it into the vacuum pump, and now you're going to get a micron reading. And I know this slide shows bar, but this is coming from our German headquarters, and they use metric measurements. But obviously, when you select the English language, everything would be in microns, degrees F, and PSI. But this would be just a vacuum micron sensor measurement, a vacuum measurement on the system. We can do a long test. We can graph the test after it reaches a certain point. We can look at a decay rate alarm. So if the vacuum starts to increase and passes that decay rate, it's going to alarm your cell phone. Keeps continuous operation, continuous measurement of the vacuum. A pressure test. A lot of you may be using nitrogen to pressurize the system. You can pressurize the system at 300 PSI. There's a built-in clock in the instrument, so you turn on the clock, and over a period of time, you're going to see if there's any pressure loss over a period of time when you're doing a nitrogen pressure test. Targeted superheat. We can do targeted superheat. We also have many smart probes, wireless probes, but one very common probe is our 605i, which is for relative humidity and temperature. And you use 2 of these probes simultaneously to get your targeted superheat. One would be outside near the condensing unit to get your outdoor dry bulb. The other is in near your return air supply, where you're getting your wet bulb reading. Compressor test, you can actually use up to 3 temperature sensors simultaneously, one on the discharge line of the compressor, and you can still do the superheat subcooling readings. And then you got your typical delta T, so you can measure across coils, you can measure across filters to see any temperature differences over a distance. The app is, again, very easy to use. It's a Testo Smart app. It's free. Big thing with our app that's new on our app is that we have the capability now of storing readings by customer. Details of the customer information can be put into the app, as well as the location or the site location, which would be the equipment, maybe the equipment serial number, the type of equipment, things of that nature. And we talk about pricing. There was a lot of concern over the years of the payback rate on these and what the price was. Well, initially, we first introduced these 15 years ago, they were over $1,000. But today you can see the pricing here. A 2-valve with 2 wireless probe pipe clamp probes starts at $499. That's our list. These are our list prices. You want to go to Controls Central to get your price. But I want to just give you some basis of where these prices stand, and these would be Testo list prices. And like I said, Control Central can provide you with your pricing. But you'll see the bottom, there's 4 valves. The 4-valve is 2 pipe clamp probes. A vacuum sensor is standard. And all these come in hard carrying cases, and they come with up to a 3-year warranty. 2 years out of the case, an extra year if you register the unit on Testo's internet site. In addition to that, you guys may be familiar with some of the individual smart probes that we have. These are used in a variety of applications for HVAC and refrigeration. You got airflow probes, you got differential pressure, you got pressure probes. You saw the pipe clamp probe. There's a humidity probe which does the wet bulb reading, temperature reading, and the relative humidity reading. Infrared thermometer, and a new one that we just introduced, which is a Type K, has a Type K thermal connection, thermometer connection, thermocouple connection. So a lot of new things happening in the digital world, especially with smart probes. You can buy these in kits forms, or you can buy these individually. When you go back to these probes here, you're looking at probes that are very accurate. They are not calibrated. They are calibrated when they leave the factory, but they're not calibrated in the field. They are designed to last 3 or 4 years. If they lose their calibration, you damage the sensor. It's cheaper, it's less expensive to purchase a new one than it is to go through a calibration procedure. So I just wanted to bring that to your attention. That's just a quick update on AC products. And now we're getting into the heating season. I want to talk to you about combustion analyzers. And like I said, not everybody's into the season yet. We got people from all over the country here, but this is something that's on the top of our list as we start doing preventive maintenance and predictive maintenance on boilers and furnaces. And we do that. We use combustion analyzers so we can look at fuel savings. We use combustion analyzers for safety, primarily carbon monoxide concerns, identify repairs and reduce downtime, preventive maintenance scheduling. We also look at NOx and CO for environmental gas measurements. And we all understand the design of a boiler. We're taking in fuel, we're taking in air. Air is made up of 21% oxygen. Fuel could be a hydrocarbon fuel, any fuel, propane, natural gas, oil 2, oil 6, and we're producing byproducts. And these byproducts are used in the analyzer. We're sampling in the stack. We're measuring oxygen, temperature, carbon monoxide. We're measuring the NOx, and we're measuring the pressure for stack draft. So when we look at combustion analyzers, we've got to look at it for the commercial side. We look at really for Testo, it's a Model 300 combustion analyzer. 300 is here. You see the 300 here. It has the capability of measuring temperature, stack temperature through a probe and hose assembly using a thermocouple. We have a primary air temperature at the bottom. Oxygen measurement. We specifically look at oxygen in the flue gases, carbon monoxide in the flue gases, CO, NO in the flue gases. And we also look at pressure, negative and positive pressure, stack draft in the flue gases. From there, we calculate combustion efficiency. That's determined by how well the burner is operating, basically your air and your fuel input, and making sure that you have safe and efficient combustion, the process of combustion. We're calculating carbon dioxide, which is a byproduct of combustion, and we're calculating other things that are necessary for boiler maintenance and furnace maintenance of boilers. You're all familiar with design of combustion analyzers. I just want to bring this to your attention, though, is that there's a probe and hose attached to the analyzer. The probe is in the stack, and that thermocouple wire sticks out of that, is at the tip of that probe. So we're getting instantaneous temperature measurement, and we have a pump in the instrument that is actually drawing the sample from the stack in through the probe and hose assembly, through a water trap, and the last place that the flue gas goes is actually into the sensors, the oxygen sensor, the carbon monoxide sensor, and the NOx sensor. So, when I talk combustion analyzers, I talk either 2-gas or 3-gas or even more. But 2-gas, when I say 2-gas, that means that we can measure oxygen and carbon monoxide. If I say 3-gas, then we're measuring oxygen, carbon monoxide, and NOx. And that actually, you can see by that diagram that we have to have a good seal. We can't have any leaks in our probe and hose assembly as it enters into the analyzer, because it has to go into the 2 or 3 sensors or 4 sensors of the analyzer to get your measurement readings. This is the exterior packaging of the Model 300. You can see from the 360 view, it's a very robust, durable instrument. It starts with its display, which is a large 5-inch display. It is based around an Android cell phone, actually, to operate the instrument. So you're looking at a very large display where you can see a lot of readings simultaneously. You can see all your readings simultaneously on the display. From the bottom, this is where your probe and hose connect to. You can have that. There's other locations where additional probes can go if you're doing primary air temperature, things of that nature. Very easy to use, very large graphic display, and giving you, like I said, the whole list of your measurement and calculated parameters, so you can see everything simultaneously without scrolling through different screens. So you have a list, you get which is the numbers, the actual numbers, the oxygen reading, the CO reading, the efficiency reading. You also have graphics, so you can look at a graphic representation of these gases, and by zooming and swiping and selecting things, it's just like it is operating a cell phone. Very simple to use, very smart, very quick. Like I said, graphic representation, guided menus, so you don't really get lost in the navigation of the operation of the instrument. As I said, it's very durable. It has large magnets on the back, so you can put it on the boiler or the furnace itself. You can unscrew the case itself with four screws, and you can get internally into the instrument to see the 2 or 3 sensors that you may have in that analyzer, and those sensors are replaceable in the field after a period of time. The sensors last up to 6 years now. I'm talking primarily the carbon monoxide sensor and the O2 sensor, the oxygen sensor. Again, it's not only has the capability of seeing everything simultaneously, but it also has the capability of storing all that information simultaneously. So we can store thousands and thousands of tests internally in the instrument if we want to. We can store a detailed description of the customer, a detailed description of the measurement itself and where that measurement is being taken, whether it's a number 2 boiler or it's a job number. We have a lot of information that we're storing in this instrument, including the measurements that we're getting. Again, it has the capability of using two sensors, oxygen and carbon monoxide, and we're using an oxygen carbon monoxide. This is really used a lot for boiler tuning. Oxygen and CO, temperature is standard, pressures are standard with Testo. When you get to 2-gas instrument, this is used a lot for boiler tuning. We also have the capability of measuring NOx, which is the 3rd sensor, and the 3rd sensor allows us to not only for safety, but also for environmental measurements like NO and NOx. One of the things that's is the flexibility of the probes. got a probe, you got a 9-foot hose, you got a 13 to 14-inch probe tube that is interchangeable. It's a quick connection on the bottom of the instrument, which ties in the thermocouple, the draft hose, and the flue gas hose. And of course, you can attach different probes to the bottom of the instrument. Say, for instance, if you want to do a primary air temperature using a different type of temperature probe. Interchangeable sensors, sensor diagnostics. We even have a range that goes up to 30,000 ppm on the CO, which I'll get into a little bit later. All this comes complete with a software package. One of the nice things that this has also is it has Wi-Fi connection, which means that you can actually take your readings from a boiler room and send it through an email, whether it's a hotspot or a Wi-Fi connection, directly to your boss, to your customer, to the engineer who needs to see these results. Wi-Fi on the 300 is a standard feature, as well as the software package that comes with the instrument. One of the things that's overlooked a lot too is on the probe assemblies. These probe assemblies, whether using Testo or another instrument, take a lot of beating. These are they're put in stacks, high temperatures, 500-600 degree temperatures, hot, wet, dirty, flue gases. We've been using our standard probe, which is really a nice probe for commercial and industrial applications. As you can see there, we have interchangeable probe tubes at the top. The hose is one hose. The hose connects to the bottom of the instrument, and everything is internal in that one hose, so you don't damage the thermocouple wire that goes from the tip of the probe to the base of the instrument. Water trap is integral to the instrument. You'll see that bottom photo, someone's using a spill valve to get access to get the water out of the instrument. On the top where the probe handle is, there's an acrylic cover there. That is where your particulate filter is. It captures your particulates in your flue gases. So you're using this probe and hose assembly, very interchangeable, very modular on your unit. It can be used on residential applications, and with the extension hoses and extension probes, you can use it on industrial applications as well. This is our lineup for the heating season on combustion analyzers. You guys may recognize these. The 310, I don't know, fits into this group very much. It's more of a residential instrument. It's priced, again, this is list price. It's priced at $760. The 300 Smoke Edition is a new edition that we've added this year. It accommodates those customers that want to do boiler tuning and boiler servicing. That starts at $1469 list. And we have a kit with printer and without printer. And then the industrial version really includes 3 sensors, the addition of 3 sensors, which is the oxygen, the carbon monoxide, and the NOx sensor. So we're addressing all the markets there, whether you're doing residential oil or if you're doing gas utility boilers. We're covering you with a whole family of these instruments. And if you look at the Smoke Edition, this is a new edition that we added this year. It's black, it's not orange. That's why we call it the Smoke Edition. But you can see that it measures oxygen and CO. And as I indicated, all our analyzers have temperature measurement standard and pressure measurement standard. The warranty on the Smoke Edition is 2 years. The Smoke Edition with printer, obviously, you're getting you're getting printer and printer paper, so you have a hard copy of your test results. And don't forget, these come with Wi-Fi, so you can transfer the readings very quickly through the internet. The Model 300, we call it the Industrial Pro version, is similar in design and appearance. It's orange, but it accommodates up to 3 sensors: oxygen, carbon monoxide, and the NO sensor. The first two versions there, you see 92 and 93 part numbers. You can upgrade the 300 at a later date with the NO sensor. If you immediately need to measure NOx, you can get the third version, which is a top-of-the-line version, which the NO sensor is already installed. So by looking at this, if you're not going to be measuring NOx ever, you don't think you're ever going to measure NOx in the next 7 to 10 years, you may not need the NOx sensor, and you go with the smoke edition. If you feel that you may be needing NOx in the future, say you're in California or on the West Coast, maybe you're up in New York area in Canada, here you're gonna consider possibly measuring NOx in the near future, or maybe you're already doing it, and this is where the Pro Series comes into play. And you can see there that the warranty there has a 4-year warranty. When I say warranty, I mean the warranty not only on the instrument, but also on the sensors themselves. And as Alex mentioned to you, and I appreciate you sticking around with me in the last 25, 30 minutes, we have a promotion that is already actually already being run. It's on our combustion analyzers, the 300 Smoke Edition and the 300 Pro that I just covered with you. And what we're doing is with the purchase of a 300 kit, you will receive a Veto bag, which is the MB3 Veto bag, which is, in my opinion, I have one. It is a very nice tool bag. Actually, the instrument fits in the bag itself, as well as the probe and hose assembly. So you're getting a hard carrying case from Testo, but also with the promotion, by filling out the form, we will send you this Veto bag at no charge. It's a $99 value, and again, you purchase your instrument through Controls Central. You send the redemption form, email it to Testo, or you send it to Testo, and we fulfill the Veto bag. We send a Veto bag to whatever location you want us to send it to. Typically, we have promotions during the fall season. This promotion started middle of August, and it's going to run through December 31st. And you'll be entitled to, as long as you purchase an analyzer this year, you'll be entitled and fill out the redemption form before January 31st of next year, you're entitled to one of these bags. That is a quick presentation on some AC products, some new technology on the AC side, as well as some new technology on the heating, the combustion analyzer side. Everybody still with me there?
Yeah, hi, John. Yeah.
Hey, you had me worried there, Herschel. I thought everybody left.
Not really. I see people are still online. So are we good to start with the Q&A round, John?
Yes, I'm open to questions pertaining to the presentation or anything else that applies to Testo.
Okay, awesome. Well, to everybody attending the webinar, please, if you have any questions about Testo's new digital gauges or their awesome new 300 combustion analyzer, it's very smart, so capable, or like any other Testo products in general, please go ahead and type them in the questions box. And while people type in their questions, John, I had a couple of questions. For the Model 300 combustion analyzer, how often does the oxygen and the carbon monoxide sensor needs to be calibrated for that?
That's a good question. Yes, the carbon monoxide and oxygen sensors are critical to the measurements of the flue gases. The oxygen sensor is calibrated every time you turn on the analyzer. And when you turn on the analyzer in fresh air, you're in an environment that is 21% oxygen. So every time you turn on the instrument in fresh air, and you need to be in fresh air when you do this, you're going to calibrate that oxygen cell to 21% oxygen. The carbon monoxide sensor, we don't have carbon monoxide in air, so we shouldn't because it's a toxic gas. But carbon monoxide sensor typically requires 1-year calibration. We recommend in our manual 1-year calibration. It will lose accuracy over a period of time, and typically it will lose about maybe 5% a year in accuracy. So the longer you don't get it calibrated, it's going to become less and less accurate. So if you have an instrument that's 3 years old and it hasn't been calibrated, you could be off 15% of the reading. So it is important to maintain calibration on the CO cell.
Oh, sounds good. Okay, great. Well, I just want to remind everybody, if you have any questions, please go ahead and type them into your questions box in the GoToWebinar panel there on your screen. John, I also had one more question. What would you say is the biggest difference between the Model 300 Smoke Edition and the Model 300 Industrial Pro Edition?
Yeah, that's another good question too, because there is a good distinction between both of them. The Model 300 Smoke Edition is designed for looking at combustion efficiency and combustion safety because it has an oxygen sensor, a temperature sensor, a carbon monoxide sensor, and a pressure sensor. The Model 300 Pro Series accommodates not only oxygen and CO, but also NOx. And as we know, NOx is an environmental gas. It's being regulated in some areas a little bit more than other areas. But if you're doing commercial and high-end commercial industrial applications, or if you're in an area where you need to do, eventually you're going to be doing NOx testing, you need to go with the 300 Pro Series. The Smoke Edition will never accept an NO sensor, whereas the industrial Model 300 will accept a NO sensor immediately or at a later date.
I see. Okay, thank you. Well, looks like we do have a question from the audience. This question is from Matthew Wright, and Matthew's asking, I have a test carbon monoxide test gas ranging from 500 ppm, 100 ppm, and 500 ppm. I'm sorry, so 50 ppm, 100 ppm, and 500 ppm. Can I calibrate the carbon monoxide myself?
What you can do is you can check to see if the instrument is calibrated on 500 or 100 ppm gas. You have to send those units back for us to do the calibration if it needs to be tweeted at all, if the readings need to change. For example, if the gentleman Matt puts on 100 ppm CO gas on the instrument, that instrument display has to read 100 ppm. And in the first year, it's going to be relatively very close. But if he puts on 100 ppm 2 or 3 years down the road, he may not read 100 ppm, he may read 85 ppm because of the sensor needed to be calibrated. So he really can't calibrate the instrument at site. He can check the calibration with the 50, 100, 150, 200 parts per million, whatever you have, but you can't actually set the calibration or change the reading without sending it back to Testo. Now, one thing that we do on carbon monoxide sensors is that they are pre-calibrated. A typical CO cell can last 5 or 6 years. And when you need to replace the CO cell, and eventually you will after a period of time, and it could last 5 or 6 years, that sensor that is you replace can be field upgraded and it's pre-calibrated. So you don't need to calibrate a sensor when you purchase one new because it's pre-calibrated and it's ready to be retrofitted in the instrument.
Okay.
I hope that answers his question.
Great. Thank you, John. Okay, if you have any more questions, please type them in now. Our presenter, John, would love to have some more questions from you. Alex, did you want to talk more about like where they can like buy these products and the promotions?
Yeah, absolutely. So thank you again, everybody, for hanging on and listening to this very informative webinar. John, thank you again. We just want to remind everybody that these products are available at ControlsCentral.com. We have special pricing for you, so please make sure to check that. And also, we will be sending out a recorded version of this webinar so you can share with people that were not able to make it today. So I really want to thank everybody for attending, and we continue to provide value through webinars and hope to hear from you all soon.
Thank you, Alex. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Welcome. Thanks, guys. Take care.
Okay. Thank you so much,
Thank
John.
you, Harshal. Bye-bye, guys.
Thank you, Alex.
Bye-bye.
Right. Bye. Thank you all.